Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Tuesday.
Yeah.
Episode 81.
Yeah.
I'm here with...
My name is Timothy.
And my name is Ben. And we're here on a Monday morning, Tuesday morning for you, as we answer questions for the people.
Ooh, exciting.
Is there anything that happened? I'm trying to think. Obviously, the Killshot Fusion's out. Any updates we need to do? Tim, do you have any questions, thoughts, quibbles, fashion statement tips before we get started this morning?
Nah, that's, car fashion statements make sure your battery terminals are in good health. That's for sure.
It's a very good point. Like the Camaro.
Make sure your battery is clean.
Mm.
Yeah. The surface static can discharge your battery if you have enough, if you get a dirty enough battery. If it sets and it's real dirty, it can actually discharge.
Yeah. It's a very good point.
It's weird stuff, right?
You did an educational video on the Killshot Fusion that was released last week with the testing and all that B-roll thrown in there.
I had a really good time with throwing that on there and then getting to talk about like some of the differences and then doing the
You have the
fuel tuning.
prototype out there.
Yeah, the prototype. I drove that thing. I got it in. You know, the wiring was kind of jank and everything, but it's a prototype, so it was meant for me to cut apart and put back together and see what works the best. And we've incorporated that into the new production model because, you know, if it fits my Chevy and if it's a big block Chevy and fits a Ford and fits a Mopar and fits a few other weird combinations and doing some oddball stuff, then there's a good chance that on the average that the end user isn't going to have to do a whole bunch of extra stuff other than maybe hide some wires or in extreme cases maybe add a little adapter harness in there and extend something, but that's going to be a rare thing because I think I left enough lead on that to be pliable to most situations.
Having the harness already attached,
Mm-hmm.
I think makes things probably 50 times easier, right?
It does.
Less things to hook up.
It was a really quick install. Like there was no Hollywood magic in that other than we used a second camera to track the timer, and that's about it. But the ease of install was insane. The setup was easy. And, you know, it's funny, even though we put it on that crazy cammed up big block and it started and ran and all that, and it was just a little bit too rich.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't even in the handheld, you can sit there and just offset the fuel table and get those target values put in there and then let it learn all the mid-table stuff later if you wanted to. But that's why we made the laptop tuning video, just to help people have a better understanding of, you know, let's adjust some fuel and here's why and here's some stuff to watch while you do it and this is how you do it. And, you know, hopefully it helps a lot of folks out because we need to put out more and more content like that. And we've done a lot in the background of all this. And, that's a big core component of my job for like the rest of the year is coming up with information and education for the people and those type of videos and whatnot. Because I've managed to delegate a lot of my job off to my guys in my department, so now it gives me a chance to focus hardcore on exactly what I've been doing over the last few weeks, and this is a very exciting time for me.
Yep. The only other thing I can think of is Good Guys Columbus. It's coming up in July.
That's exciting.
11th through 13th.
Yeah,
We'll be there. 4 of us will be there. And we're going to get some videos of some people. So if you want to bring a car, let me know. Send me an email. Some of you already have, and I'm very thankful.
I'm looking forward to that, man. I'll wait to see what kind of turnout we got up there. I'm not going to that show, unfortunately, but, you know, a lot of great folks will be there. So.
Yep. It'll be good. All right. Well, we'll get started. I spit everywhere.
That's okay. It's 9,000 degrees in the studio today.
It always is. We can't keep the air conditioning on because then you'll hear it. So we suffer for you. Oh, okay. So our first question.
I was breaking a sweat on that car the other day. I tell you what. I sweat my eye.
That's true. BryantStilwell.
I know that guy.
We might know that guy. Very glad to hear that the magnetic Hall effect choice is there for the TBI units. Eventually, I'm going to run the Fusion on top of your 440 multi-port intake just to see how it compares and see which makes more power with as close of a tune as possible. It'll be fun. So still don't have any hats would be happier with a hat, please, we can hook you up with a hat. We should get our new batch of stuff.
I got to send his laptop back soon. Actually, I have Bryant's personal laptop here for we was testing something, and he was like, "I'll just send you my laptop." I'm like,
"That's awesome."
Easy. So I'm going to give him some. I'm going to put some swag in that box, I think.
Yeah, we can do that. That'll be wild. I wish you were closer, Bryant, because I need a 440 Mopar. Anything. Anything.
The local 440 guys around here, they already have their cars built, tuned, adjusted, and they don't want them touched.
Yep.
They're just like, oh, I'll take the system, but you can't touch my car.
Or they don't exist.
Or they don't exist. There's like 4 people I know around here that has that motor, but they're clean. You know, these $100,000 Mopars, and they're just like, nah.
Yeah.
I'll stick with what I got.
Yep. All right. After you, sir.
TorxGarage, awesome. Appreciate you guys. Tim, Hemi, XJS, it is in. And I agree. I think that'll be really neat. Thanks for the info on the FPS wiring. Can't wait to get the Fusion to be delivered. It's true. I plan to do my own video series on it.
Let's go.
Tag us in it. Send it to Ben.
Let's do it.
Another question. Would you use a Corvette filter regulator or just a FPR with a deadhead fuel rail? I'd go Corvette regulator. A lot of people be talking down on those things. That's pretty much what I run because I want to make the fuel system as compact as possible. So I go out of the tank into the regulator, back to the tank, and then I run one straight up to the top. That's because I'm not running crazy horsepower. If I was, I'd run a return style. But if you got the option to do a Corvette regulator just to keep it tidy, go that route. Make sure to buy the 2-pack just in case you got one go bad. I like to get the 2-pack. I'll get the throwaway special tool that sometimes comes with it, and I'll throw that in the glove box or in the toolbox or something like that because eventually they do go bad, but it's not like high frequency. So Wix is a good brand for that kind of stuff. Don't go bottom of the barrel, cheapest one you can find, because if you ever cut those things apart, you'll see what I mean. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think most of our TBI units we'd recommend going with some kind of return and not just deadheading it, unless you're using like a Command Center 2. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, sometimes. It just really depends on your application.
Yeah.
All of my stuff runs with a Corvette regulator. I don't actually have an ACES fuel pressure regulator. Every one of my projects. My Tahoe, I'm 40,000 miles on the same Corvette regulator. That wasn't even the good one. It was just there. But I have consistently 62 PSI fuel pressure, runs like a champion. It doesn't deviate. The only time I ever have fuel pressure problems is when I forget to put gas in.
Yeah.
That's a Tim problem.
Cool. cgrstng names cgrstng with no vowels or spaces. Okay. cgrstng. Sweet. Which system has the built-in trans control? That would be the jackpot. My son's first vehicle is a 1980 C10 that has a stock small block Chevy, and the TH350. Before he gets it to drive, it in a couple years, my plan is to make it bulletproof. What? And part of that is an electronic 4-speed 4L80. I'd prefer to put it in one integrated system instead of 2 separate systems. Your guys' price points are more in line with my budget goals for this vehicle. Absolutely.
He has solved the recipe. Cougar Stain, you get it. We're trying to make that price point available for all hot rodders.
I thought you were going to say we're trying to make it all bulletproof.
No, we're doing that. I mean, I spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. I'm the letter outer of Magic Smoke. So if you can break it, I will break it. The 4L80 we don't offer a TBI or multi-port yet, other than the jackpot, which won't fit your small block 350 yet. But we don't have one that has the integrated trans control just yet. I would like to see in the future more pro level version of one of our TBI systems that has an integrated trans control in it as well. Sure. Obviously that costs extra money. but I think it's a worthwhile venture when it comes to, some of the next generations of our things we're going to be doing, how we're going to add more power to them, more chipsets to them, and more pins and things.
Yep.
But I'd like to see that. But currently, you're going to have to stick with you got the TBI and you got the quick draw tied together.
I will say that it's not a very big ECU. It's like, it may be this big.
It's the same size, same footprint as a kill shot.
Yeah. So, by and large, it's probably would be similar sizing, maybe just a tad bit more room than you would in a jackpot ECU. But they're not very big. I think that's one of the plus sizes, even though that we have remote-mounted ECUs, generally, other than the ones with the CDI box integrated into it, they're pretty easy to tuck away or hide, or, they're not. They don't take up too much space. So
I'm actually currently with a kill shot ECUs. I'm doing on the road thermal testing. I'm looking at. I got a multimeter with a thermal couple taped to the top of my ECU currently.
Really?
And then I overly insulated it to increase temperature, and I'm trying to get it going down the road. I've mounted it under the hood in a very awful location to try to figure out at what temperature these things heat soak and then turn off. Because as interesting as that is, some people, they may be living more of a southern area of the map where there's a lot of underhood temperature, and if they know exactly what their underhood temperature is, then they'll be able to answer the question, can I put it under the hood or not, and will I run into any kind of problem? So I'm trying to get mine to thermally shut down. I just haven't had a hot enough day. And I sat in a traffic jam for 2 hours this weekend in my Tahoe.
Yeah.
It's still sitting there running like a champion. Of course, I'm sitting there like I'm doing some weird testing. I need to make sure I have a spot to pull over. So don't go hang out in the left lane if you're doing thermal testing. Just,
Some of you guys out in Arizona, specifically Tucson,
Arizona,
for duct tape drags last year know what he's talking about. The Royal Flush. It's 114 degrees.
God, yeah.
And they were racing down the drag.
300 degrees under the hood. Yeah, I could say there'll be some shutdown there. Yeah. But I'm trying to get that exact number for different systems just for fun. I mean, I have it on paper for what the chipset's going to do, but the external, the actual aluminum housing, I want to know what that thing gets to and how long it needs to get there before it goes, oh, okay, I'm going to turn off for a little bit.
Yep.
There's other ones out there in the world that they'll get to the point of being super hot, and then they'll allow you to stay there without putting themselves in a safety mode.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, that'll give you a headache because the system just don't turn back on after that. Once it's done, it's done. Ours has a bit of a safety.
Yep. All right. After you.
Let's see. VrmManny. VrmManny. Set up my Joker system in PDM. It's powered like normal with key on accessory. I noticed that handheld clicks off when I try to crank, but I ran out of time and I have to leave town. Excited to finish up this next week. Yeah. If you're losing that cranking signal on key on, it's just going to turn the system back off and restart it. So you may get it to initially kick over and start, and then it's going to die right away because it's basically recycling the power latch on the system. I would try to either get a timed relay on that or find another key source. Sometimes people don't necessarily have that option, so they have to go with a timed relay. So it, whenever you go to start it, even though it loses voltage, it waits a bit and then turns off. So I've had to work around a few systems that had no option for that without changing out a very expensive key switch. So that was one way I attached. I think I got that thing on Amazon. It was literally, I think it was literally called a timer relay, and it was like it would stay powered up for 5 to 10 seconds or something like that.
Wild. Cool.
Cost a couple bucks.
Not bad. Mark with a Q. That's actually funny. It's Mark with a Q 96. You're so close, man. I'm just kidding. First, I want to say great move with the Killshot Fusion. Thank you. You guys are killing it with the diversity. My question now is, which one should I go with? The Fusion or the Killshot 2? It's going to be on a TT35 small block Chevy with an MSD timing control. I want to keep it TBI for the IoT temp purposes.
Go with the 2, because then you can you have a lot more room for expandability later. I mean, I know you're going to be using an MSD box to set it all up, but you're gonna want that extra, the little bit of extra that the Killshot 2 offers. Killshot Fusion is a great unit, but it's only going to be what the Killshot Fusion is. The Killshot 2, at least you can expand off later and do other things. If you decide to, you really want to do some wild stuff and feed one turbo to each throttle body and go with a dual quad setup when we release that, you could, or what have you not. But not only that, but turbos equal heat. I would be looking at remote mount ECU inside the cabin on that one. Now we did do a whole lot of really crazy high temperature stuff with the Killshot Fusion. It's very, very high temperature automotive grade stuff, but still, I mean, you're going to be
absolutely
doing a maximum effort 355. So I would go with the Killshot 2. Just keep it remote. I mean, it's not that crazy much more money.
I think that's the easiest way to put it as well. I think we're getting to a point where we'll have a lot easier to see the segments or even tiers of our systems. But Killshot 2, as of right now, is one of the most
I'm a big fan.
Diverse. Gives you the option to do a lot more later on. Even still with other things like the handheld. The handheld is going to have 64-bit architecture that the Fusion's not going to have. So when you're messing around with either data logging or if you're looking at stuff in the handheld, it's going to function more like an iPhone than anything else. So those are the things that you'll see stand out more from the Killshot 2 perspective. Nothing against the Fusion, but
I love the Fusion.
It would be like...
it's different generation, too.
Yeah.
Killshot Fusion's technically a first-gen unit. Killshot 2 is technically a second-gen unit.
Mm-hmm. So you have like the Classic, then you'll have the Fusion, then you'd have the Killshot 2 is kind of how you would structure the line of Killshot products for sure. So.
Yeah.
That's just the way I see it on the back end. But very good question.
I like that people's put in the word of, like, when they talk about the Killshot 1, they call it the OG Killshot. When they talk about the handheld, it's the same thing. It tickles me infinitely because I'm like, I still daily drive one of these things. But it runs like a champion. It does fine.
Yep.
Towed a trailer this weekend with it. Didn't do anything funny.
You've got bigger stuff on Deuce's Wild Systems.
Yeah.
Like a dump truck?
Dump truck is running a Killshot 1 Classic.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a 454
you have an
big
RV
block.
On a Deuce's
There
Wild.
is an RV. It's getting ready to take the journey from Wyoming to Florida, so it's probably going to stop in Chattanooga for a while. Be an opportunity to kind of film something, do a little update of, where Cousins Eddie's at and where he's been.
He's been a lot of places. I'm very sure.
Still running on firmware version 149 or 148. I think it's 148.
Yeah, don't bother to look up how old that is. Anyway.
Yeah. It's so old it ain't even got a part number. That's how old that unit is. It's like
some of you are there.
It's serial number 2.
You may not be there, but
the first one's on Stanky Benz. The second one's on the camper.
I know some of you have seen that Stinky Benz. It's on our social media. Anyway,
that guy's got a lot of media coverage lately.
Love Chucky. He's awesome.
Go Wild 9405 Ford FE multi-port manifold in the future. Not that I can think of, but definitely something to add to the list and look into. If there's enough FE market out there, it probably wouldn't be a massive thing to do.
Yeah. Jeffrey Rigged. One thing I noticed is you guys have no blackjack distributor for Buick engines. I would be interested in that. If you need a guinea pig, I have both a 350 and a 455 car, and I'm not crazy distance away. The 455 is getting the Killshot 1 as we speak.
I think we got Oldsmobile and Pontiac right now. I don't think we have Buick yet.
We have Oldsmobile?
Yeah, it's that one I was testing the other day.
I do know we have Pontiac, that's for sure. But I don't Buick would be
just
interesting.
an Olds. I had to do dimensional check, functionality checks on it, and all that junk. So
I know Jay Sheehan would lose his mind if we had Oldsmobile distributor.
Yeah.
So,
We got some stuff coming out. I mean, it's just stuff that's just like that. Do you have one of these yet? It's like, no, but we could look into it. And that's the same thing with that distributor. We added it to the list and looked into it, realized there's a good market in it, and just sent it.
Yep.
Other companies make these things, but the thing is, like, if it's one of those deals where it can help our customers out and bring in a better price point as compared to some of the competitors, because if it's just less than a one-off deal, then we actually give it a strong consideration of, like, maybe we ought to do this.
Yep.
Maybe we ought to get up with the manufacturer and see what they got.
Let's see. Mark Hughes. Sorry, we're going back.
No. VrmManny. Side note: Joker wiring diagram installation manual is blurry. I need to. It's like, yeah, that's true. We got a couple manuals out there that somehow got through, and they're blurry. So we're our e-commerce guys actually doing a whole lot of work. We're trying to add color-coded wiring schematics in there and a bunch of other really cool stuff. So we're quite keen on that. We noticed like the Deuce is Wild, like that thing was lackluster, so we're like, okay, we got a better version of it now.
I did not know that.
Same thing with Joker. It's just, there's some stuff we wanted to add in there. Same thing with Wild Card. A little bit crispier visualization on the wiring schematic. We're just trying to make it nicer because we put it out there and we're like, oh, we got some improvements to make here.
I can check into that too. I didn't know that.
It's time to put out all the updated stuff that we're updating over the next week or so.
Mark Hughes 4674. Can you do a video on setting up timing for boost on the Killshot 1? Also, an update on the miles per hour as default on the 5-inch screen. Thank you.
I think we made an update to the 3rd gen 5-inch that automatically sets it in there. I'll have to see if that's part of the new update that I got in this weekend, because that's something that we had put on the list and asked about for a bit. Of if you pick one, it stays there instead of it defaulting back to the tachometer, and then we're having to go in and switch it and all that extra jazz. Yeah. So that's something that was asked, and I noticed it. I was testing a nameless thing here recently, and it does that. It does exactly that thing, which is cool. So I have to go find an OG handheld and see if that thing be doing its thing.
Yep. Fair enough.
Jalopy Junkie.
Love that.
1927T. I got 2 hot rods, both running carbs at this time. I'm very interested in switching these to the Fusion throttle body unit. My question is, both of these vehicles use GM HEI distributors. Can I continue to use the HEI distributor, so on and so forth? Yeah, do that HEI. If you already have a great timing curve set up in them things, just swap it. Get the fuel command center, hide it somewhere, run that fuel up there off your mechanical pump, run a return back to your tank, run that HEI, plug in 3-4 wires, give it a full send. You'll be all right. Also, one of these engines is a 403 Olds, so the distributors run counterclockwise. As a distributor option is there a distributor option for this also? Not that I'm 100% aware of. I am testing an Olds, but I have to make sure it's 403. Yeah, I know they run counterclockwise, but when the magnetic, it's just one pulse, one fire. So if you look at the paddle wheel on the bottom, they're very symmetrical. The only one that makes a difference of which direction it goes is the Hall effect. But if you're running HEI, just stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have to fool with nothing. Just tack to thing.
Yep.
And set it as coil negative.
Yep. NoGarageGuy. Sorry. Question on the dual quad setup. So on my 5.0, the block will never handle the high horsepower of duals. ... Can you get KS2 with the smaller injectors so get the look without all of the extra fuel? At most, the 5.0 will take 450, 500 before the block failure. 351 can handle much more.
Oh man, you got to get that high nickel block from south of the border for that 5 liter. Then you put all the extra girdles and whatnot in there and the stiffeners That'll get you past that 500. The biggest thing that breaks those 5-liter blocks in half is too much timing, because you can run it and it won't knock, but you're still pushing that thing in half, and it'll break right down the center like an egg. It's amazing. It sounds really neat at the drag strip too, but then it takes forever because you're already in staging and you got to like clean up an oil slick. So
yeah,
been to that party. Anywho, I don't think we plan currently to put smaller injectors in the Kill Shot 2. We're already running, and in the Kill Shot 2, we're running some very, very good injectors that have good characteristics for low pulse width, for idle, especially if you're running 8 of those things over 2 throttle bodies, because it's going to have an injection pulse width of just like less than 1. And I think we can get all the way down to 0.8 before it starts spitting. So, goodness. Yeah, that's where we're at. If it comes in point with the dual quad setups that we have to, it forces us to have to put in 80s instead of 100s, then that's just something we'll just have to do in the future, just to make it work easier. But we're just gonna have to fill that out to see, because I got a dual quad intake heading this way with some prototype stuff, so I'm gonna be putting that on probably the Aces truck. I got to order some linkage steel too, but we got to throw that thing on there.
Is
going to be running no hood. It's going to be good.
Is it possible?
No, anything's possible.
Well, I know, but like I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, obviously it would void the warranty, but I would imagine that you could do that.
Really depending, because I'm quite keen on a future adaptation of more of a custom shop for some of these things. If somebody is very specifically ordering something with very specific injectors, it's just an extra cost. But we got to have the staffing to do that.
Oh yeah,
and I'll have to have an actual custom back shop, and it'll be a lead time, and there'll be all these expectations and whatnot. Yeah. That's something that it's kind of, I've been thinking about back and forth before I actually pitched the idea of like, maybe we should do this. Yeah. Let us know what you think.
ACZFI, anything's possible.
Yeah, just got to let us know what you really want to do, and we'll do the best we can to either go forward with it or really evaluate it and be like, nah, I can't quite do that.
I hate my words on that one. Somebody will come up to me at the show and be like, anything's possible, Ben. You said it.
Yeah.
Iron Man says, can you do a video of tuning without a PC? As I don't own a computer, my max tech is a iPhone and iPad.
Oh, I've done plenty of handheld adjustments videos.
Yeah, we can make more of those for sure.
I can make one that's a little bit more dedicated to that, to just doing that one thing. But yeah, I've made plenty of handheld videos of doing table offsets and whatnot and adjusting a few things.
I don't know of anything that would be able to use an iPhone or iPad in the near future. So, but
yeah, Steve Honeycutt, 1980, Oldsmobile, built fuel injection and distributor-less spark system.
Distributor-less?
That means coil and air plug.
Oh.
Yep. Probably looking for Oldsmobile multi-port intake with a coil and air plug application. That's something I want to see on a lot of small blocks with adaptability. So that is something on the thought process for the engineering chat as it goes about. At what point are we going to adopt a multi-port coil and air plug setup, like an adaptation for what we do with our jackpots, but for a classic small block?
I'm just shocked we got 3 Oldsmobile or 4 Oldsmobile questions in a Tech Tuesday. That was blowing my mind. But, yeah.
All right. Jeffrey Rigged. Weird question I have.
We don't do those here.
I have, and I'm pretty sure it's good, but can I turn the Aces ECM upside down or sideways, just making sure it won't cause an issue if it mounts funny? Just don't get the water in there.
That's the thing.
Just don't put the connectors up and, expect it to stay dry, because that water will get through the connector and pull up and then just do a bunch of funny, awesome stuff.
If it's under your dash, I mean, go for it. Like,
dude, I got one zip tied to a coolant jug. So
well,
I wanted to get it as hot as possible.
I
took it off my firewall and I put it on the res and give it a big old fat zip tie because I want that thing to thermally overload. I just ain't got it to do it yet. But yeah, upside down, sideways, preferably connectors down. But it's up to you.
Especially if it's under the hood. Like if it's on the firewall, point them down. If it's in your glove box,
do it sideways,
under your dash.
Sideways fine too.
In your dash, Slowpoke's garage. It's fine. Whatever orientation you want to do.
South edge drag racing could open headers make my O2 sensors read really lean. Yes. Therefore, is it causing it to add a bunch of fuel? Also true.
Yep.
I was wondering if I installed the kit and fired up open header for a bit, but I'd be doing exhaust here soon. Yeah, turn off fuel loop and fuel learning. Don't even plug your O2 sensors in. Just leave them chilling. Start it up, and you're at idle, depending on how aggressive your vehicle is. You're looking for about a pulse width of about 2, so you can do the fuel table offset or do the tuning to get it down there. And it's just like doing an old carburetor. If you're not sure about it, it's fired up. Pull the plug out after you're done.
Yep.
Give it a read. You're like, hey, it's too rich, it's too lean, what have you not. Just adjust the fuel accordingly. You could also put a test pipe on there and have it give a good read. And then you can actually just turn it back off if you plan on doing headers later. But yeah, pretty much mounting those things right there where all those extractors come together in that collector. It's going to read the craziest stuff. It's going to read random lean, crazy rich, weird stuff. It's not really good for the sensor. So that's something you'll contend with is people using open headers. It's kind of a thing. So you can either do a slip-on test pipe after it, just for an O2 sensor, or you can just kind of eyeball tune it looking at your plug.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to jump over to Tim's little educational video real quick.
Educational.
We've got a question I wanted to address here. I guess 2, but really just one.
Sure.
Dano 74Z. Tim, I heard you mention the Killshot Fusion has progressive throttle linkage.
That's true.
Nice.
Up to about 15 degrees.
My question is the Fusion throttle body more on the Killshot 1 or the Killshot 2? Are the 4 throttle bores and geometry based on the Killshot 1 or the Killshot 2? Thank you.
2.
Yep.
So if you notice down in the neck of the throttle bores itself, it's got a weird little taper to the annular rings, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
It's the Killshot Fusion is adopted from the Killshot 2, even though they're not totally the same. Measurement-wise, the throttle bores are the same. The progressive linkage is the same. It doesn't have the internal sensor for fuel pressure and a few other things that's been slightly modified, like the cover doesn't have a big PIC connector on it. It has a whole ECU on it. So yeah, that's Killshot 2 based.
Yep.
Killshot 1's a bit different. Bigger, thicker. It's the actual.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Bores itself is a little bit different on how those rings are put in there, but Killshot 2 has a little bit more superior style that's put in there that doesn't. It just fits tighter. But I mean, they're all made to a very high standard, so. You know, me talking good stuff about the Killshot 2 is by no means discounting the Killshot 1 or Fusion. Yeah. It's just the fact that it's just different levels of flavor.
Bingo. BluesShed Australian distributors? I think 1 officially. But you can go over to our website and go to partners. You just scroll down to the bottom where it's got all those different links. If you hit partners, you'll see sponsorship application. You'll see dealers, authorized tuners. I think we have 1 in Australia officially. There might be some things like through JAGS or through some other place. I don't know if is Motor State purely Canadian.
Motor State does like 61 countries or some ridiculous stuff. Like they are
check out.
They put products out. Yeah. Nice bunch of guys up there, by the way. I love their warehouse. Their warehouse is on point. They do all the dimensional measuring weights and all that stuff. All the things that I like when it comes to warehousing. So we went up there for car stuff, and it was like talking about warehouse nerd stuff.
Yeah, so absolutely. Check out those guys.
Quite passionate
but I think there
that.
is 1 distributor, I think, on the west coast of Australia.
Was it the Golden Coast? Or was that East Coast?
I think the Golden Coast
It's
is the
been a
west
very
coast.
long time since I've been down that way. All I know is there's spiders and bugs.
There are that.
But the cool thing is, like, the creepy crawlies you guys got
I've
down
never
there,
been, so I wouldn't know.
it's like going to Florida for us. Because
I don't know. I have never been, so I'm not going to say
he
that.
don't know.
I just know that there are things in Australia that will kill you 10 times more than Tennessee.
Yeah, so don't play with them.
Yeah, koalas are actually not friendly. They look friendly. They're not. They're bears. They call them koala bears.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that was your takeaway tidbit from Tech Tuesday. Had absolutely nothing to do with cars. Anyway, here we are.
I
Tim-
haven't seen anybody actually answer my 3/4 cam racing question.
No.
Like, I do know the answer to that. I'm just hoping that, one of these guys that's around my age or older still remembers what a 3/4 race cam was and then comments below. I'm not trying to start an argument, or am I? But the thing is, like, there was a reason that those things existed.
There was. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Tech Tuesday. Tim, thank you for joining me at the studio. It's hot. It's the summer. It's how it is.
It is lovely.
You guys need to be out there working on your cars. We're here helping as best as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll keep doing it for the people. Come out to Good Guys Columbus. Put it on your calendar. I want to meet you guys. It's going to be awesome. We've got some other cars going out there. We got a white Pontiac Firebird. It is mint.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be in our booth. So
Yeah,
you
it's a real
definitely
clean
want
one.
to come check that out.
Was that one of the Slowpokes cars?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, they got a nice facility
Yeah.
down there.
Yep. But guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Tech Tuesday. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like down below. Helps us out. If you have a comment about, ACES fuel injection or EFI in general, leave a comment down below and we'll do our best to get to it in the next Tech Tuesday video. If you know anybody that is thinking about going fuel injection, send them our way. We'd be happy to help them out.
Also, what's the next live thing we ought to do for you? We did the jackpot
Yeah, we did.
thing.
Yeah.
I did that. I did something else, I'm sure. We did the Tech Tuesday live stuff.
Yeah, give us ideas for the next live stream.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Let us know.
We like doing those things.
I'm down.
Makes editing easier.
I like doing those things.
So,
It's it worked out real good.
yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. And like always, we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye now.